Deep in the murky depths of the ocean, a team of researchers had been studying the underwater ecosystem for weeks. They had come equipped with the latest technology and state-of-the-art diving suits, eager to uncover the secrets of the deep. As they descended deeper and deeper, the team noticed something unusual on their sonar readings. It appeared to be a large, stationary object, almost like a mountain rising up from the ocean floor. "Hey, do you see that?" said one of the researchers, pointing at the sonar display. "What is it?" asked another. "I don't know, but it's huge," replied the first researcher. The team decided to investigate, descending even further until they reached the ocean floor. As they approached the object, they realized that it wasn't a mountain at all, but some sort of creature. "It's alive," shouted one of the researchers. They circled the creature, taking photos and measurements. It was like nothing they had ever seen before, a massive, multi-limbed creature with glowing eyes and razor-sharp teeth. Suddenly, the creature began to move. Its massive limbs shifted, sending a wave of water rushing towards the team. "Get out of here," shouted the team leader. "Back to the surface, now." The team scrambled to their diving pods, but the creature was faster. It lunged at them, grabbing hold of one of the pods and shaking it violently. "Help!" screamed one of the researchers. The team leader tried to fire a tranquilizer dart at the creature, but it was too strong. It pulled the pod out of reach, dragging it deeper into the ocean. "Mayday, mayday," shouted the team leader into his radio. "We need backup, now." The team waited in terror as the creature dragged the pod further and further into the depths. They could hear the screams of their colleague over the radio, and knew that they were helpless to save him. Eventually, the radio went silent. The team leader knew that his colleague was gone, and that they were all in grave danger. "We have to get out of here," he said, his voice trembling with fear. "We need to warn the world about this creature." The team quickly made their way to the surface, but the horror of what they had witnessed stayed with them. They knew that they had discovered something that should have stayed hidden in the depths of the ocean. Something that was not meant to be disturbed. And as they sailed away from the sight of the creature, they could feel its malevolent presence following them, lurking just beneath the surface of the water, waiting to strike again. Days passed, and the team tried to put the incident behind them. They wrote their reports and submitted their findings to their superiors, but they knew that the world would never be the same. One evening, as they gathered around the dinner table, the team leader received a message on his phone. It was a video from an unknown source. "Hey, guys, check this out," he said, showing the video to his colleagues. The video showed footage of the creature they had encountered, swimming gracefully through the water. But there was something else in the video, a figure standing on the ocean floor, watching the creature with a sense of awe and reverence. "Who is that?" asked one of the researchers. "I don't know," replied the team leader, "but we have to find out." The team quickly packed their gear and set out on a new mission. They were determined to uncover the secrets of the creature, and the mysterious figure in the video. After weeks of searching, they finally found the spot where the creature had been first discovered. They descended into the depths, their hearts racing with anticipation. As they approached the creature, they saw the figure again. This time, it was more clear. It was a person, but not like any they had ever seen before. It was almost like a creature itself, with scales and webbed hands. "Who are you?" shouted the team leader, trying to get the figure's attention. The figure turned to face them, its eyes glowing in the darkness. "I am the keeper of the deep," it said, its voice echoing through the water. "I have watched over this creature for centuries." "Why didn't you warn us about it?" asked one of the researchers. "I thought you were here to help it," replied the figure. "But now I see that you are just like the others. You seek to exploit its power for your own gain." The team leader tried to reason with the figure, but it was too late. The creature had awoken, and it was angry. It lunged at the team, its massive limbs thrashing through the water. The team scrambled to get out of the way, firing their tranquilizer darts in a desperate attempt to subdue it. The creature roared, a sound that echoed through the ocean like thunder. It was as if the very fabric of the sea was tearing apart. The team managed to escape, but they knew that they had unleashed something terrible. They had disturbed the natural balance of the ocean, and now they would have to face the consequences. As they sailed away from the sight of the creature, they could feel its malevolent presence following them, lurking just beneath the surface of the water, waiting to strike again. Days turned into weeks, and the team of researchers couldn't shake off the feeling that they had made a grave mistake. They had released a monster into the world, and they were powerless to stop it. One night, as they sat in their quarters, they heard a strange sound coming from the ocean. It was a low, rumbling noise, like something massive was moving through the water. "Did you hear that?" asked one of the researchers. "Yeah, what the hell is that?" replied another. The team rushed to the deck of the ship, scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. But they saw nothing, only the dark, endless expanse of the ocean. Suddenly, the water began to churn. It was as if the entire ocean was boiling, roiling with some unspeakable force. And then it appeared, the creature, rising up from the water like a nightmare made real. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its massive jaws opened wide, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. The team was frozen with terror, unable to move as the creature approached their ship. They knew that they had made a terrible mistake, and that they were about to pay the price. But then, something miraculous happened. The figure from the video appeared, standing on the deck of the ship as if by magic. "Stop," it shouted, raising its arms to the sky. To the team's amazement, the creature stopped in its tracks. It seemed to recognize the figure, and it hesitated for a moment before sinking back into the ocean. The figure turned to the team, its eyes filled with sorrow. "You have released a great evil into the world," it said. "But there is still hope. You can make things right, if you are willing to pay the price." The team didn't know what to say. They had made a terrible mistake, and now they were being offered a chance at redemption. "What do we have to do?" asked the team leader. "You must return the creature to its natural habitat," replied the figure. "But be warned, it will not be easy. You will have to face many dangers, and you may not make it out alive." The team nodded, knowing that they had no other choice. They had to right their wrongs, no matter the cost. And so, they set out on a perilous journey, a journey to return the creature to the depths of the ocean, and to restore the natural balance of the world. It would be a journey filled with danger and uncertainty, but they knew that they had to see it through to the end. For the sake of the world, and for the sake of their own souls. As the team descended deeper and deeper into the ocean, they encountered all manner of terrifying creatures, giant squid, schools of razor-toothed barracuda, and massive, tentacled things that lurked in the shadows. But they pressed on, determined to complete their mission. They had come too far to turn back now. Finally, they arrived at the spot where the creature had first been discovered. They could see its massive form in the distance, swimming lazily through the water. The team approached cautiously, their hearts pounding in their chests. They knew that this was the moment of truth, the moment when they would either succeed or fail. They fired their tranquilizer darts at the creature, and it roared in anger. But this time, they were ready. They had brought special equipment designed to subdue the creature, and they used it with all their might. After what seemed like an eternity, the creature finally went limp. The team breathed a sigh of relief, but they knew that the hard part was yet to come. They attached the creature to a special harness and began to lift it up toward the surface. But as they did, something unexpected happened. The water around them began to churn once again. Out of the darkness emerged a massive, tentacled creature, the creature's natural predator. It attacked the team with a ferocity that was terrifying to behold, lashing out with its long, sinewy tentacles. The team fought back with all their might, using every weapon at their disposal. It was a brutal, bloody battle, and it seemed as if the team would be overwhelmed at any moment. But then, something miraculous happened. The figure from the video appeared once again, standing on the ocean floor and raising its arms to the sky. The water around them began to glow with a brilliant light, and the predator retreated in fear. The team looked on in amazement as the figure smiled at them and disappeared into the depths. The team knew that they had been given a second chance, a chance to make things right and to restore the natural balance of the world. With renewed determination, they lifted the creature up toward the surface, taking care to avoid any more dangers that might lurk in the shadows. Finally, they emerged from the water, their mission complete. They had returned the creature to its natural habitat, and they had redeemed themselves in the eyes of the world. As they sailed away from the site of their encounter, the team couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. They had witnessed things that no human had ever seen before, and they had come face to face with the awesome power of the ocean. And they knew that they would never forget what they had learned, that there are things in this world that are beyond our understanding, and that we must always respect the natural order of things, or face the consequences. As the team sailed away, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. They looked out into the ocean, but they could see nothing except the endless expanse of water stretching out before them. Suddenly, one of the crew members cried out in alarm. "Look," he shouted, pointing to a dark shape in the water. The team watched in horror as the shape grew larger and larger, until they could see that it was a massive, tentacled creature, far larger than any they had seen before. "It's the predator," One of the researchers exclaimed, "It's come back for us." The team scrambled to ready their weapons, but they knew that it was hopeless. The creature was too powerful, and they were trapped on a small boat in the middle of the ocean. The predator attacked with a ferocity that was beyond anything the team had ever experienced. Its tentacles wrapped around the boat, crushing the metal and sending sparks flying. One by one, the crew members were snatched up by the creature and dragged into the water. The team fought back with everything they had, but it was no use. The predator was too strong. In the end, only one member of the team remained, the lead researcher, who had been responsible for bringing the creature to the surface. He watched in horror as his colleagues were dragged away, their screams echoing across the water. As the predator turned its attention to him, the researcher knew that he was doomed. He closed his eyes, waiting for the inevitable. But then, something miraculous happened. The figure from the video appeared once again, standing on the surface of the water and holding out its hand. The researcher took the figure's hand, and suddenly he was lifted up into the air. He watched in amazement as the predator retreated into the depths, unable to harm him. The figure smiled at the researcher and spoke in a language he could not understand. But somehow, he knew that the figure was telling him to respect the power of the ocean, and to never interfere with the natural balance of things again. With that, the figure disappeared once again, leaving the researcher alone on the surface of the water. He looked out into the endless expanse of the ocean, knowing that he had witnessed something truly extraordinary. And he knew that he would never forget the lesson he had learned, that there are forces in this world that are beyond our control, and that we must always respect them, or face the consequences. The researcher sat alone on the surface of the water, watching as the sun began to set behind him. He knew that he was lucky to be alive, but he also knew that he would never be the same again. He thought back to the day when he had first seen the video of the creature, and how he had been filled with excitement and wonder. Now, all he felt was a deep sense of regret and guilt. He knew that he had caused the deaths of his colleagues, and that he had unleashed a terrible force upon the world. He vowed to never let his curiosity and ambition get the better of him again. As the darkness began to close in around him, the researcher heard a voice in his head, the voice of the figure he had seen in the water. The voice spoke to him in a language he still couldn't understand, but he could sense that it was trying to impart some wisdom to him. The voice told him of the many secrets that lay hidden in the ocean, and of the many wonders that had yet to be discovered. But it also warned him of the dangers that lay in wait, and of the terrible consequences that could arise from meddling with forces beyond our understanding. The researcher listened intently, trying to absorb everything the voice was telling him. He knew that he had been given a second chance, and that he had to use it wisely. As the sun rose the next morning, the researcher was still sitting on the surface of the water, lost in thought. He knew that he had a long road ahead of him, but he was determined to make things right. He set his sights on a new goal, to study the ocean and its many mysteries, but to do so with respect and caution. He knew that he could never undo the mistakes of the past, but he could use his knowledge to help protect the fragile balance of the world. And as he sailed away from the site of his encounter with the monster of the deep, the researcher felt a sense of peace and purpose that he had never felt before. He knew that he had been changed by his experience, but he also knew that he was ready for whatever lay ahead. The researcher returned to his lab, determined to find a way to make amends for his past mistakes. He poured himself into his work, studying the ocean and its creatures with a new sense of reverence and caution. One day, as he was going through some old files, he found a piece of paper that he had overlooked before. It was a note from one of his colleagues, who had written about a strange phenomenon he had witnessed in the depths of the ocean. The researcher was intrigued, and he decided to follow up on the lead. He assembled a new team of researchers, all of whom shared his newfound respect for the ocean. They set out on a new expedition, equipped with the latest technology and knowledge. They dove deep into the ocean, marveling at the strange creatures and formations they encountered along the way. As they descended deeper into the darkness, the researcher felt a sense of apprehension. He knew that there were dangers lurking in the depths, and that they had to be careful. But he also knew that this was what he had been searching for, a chance to explore the ocean in a way that honored its power and majesty. As the team continued their descent, they suddenly saw a dark shape looming out of the darkness. At first, they thought it was another monster, but as they got closer, they realized that it was something else entirely. It was a city, an ancient, mysterious city that had been lost beneath the waves for centuries. The team couldn't believe their eyes, and they began exploring the city, taking careful notes and samples along the way. As they worked, the researcher couldn't help but think of the lessons he had learned from his encounter with the monster. He knew that this discovery was a gift, and that he had to treat it with the utmost respect. And so, the team worked tirelessly, using their knowledge and expertise to uncover the secrets of the lost city. They found artifacts and structures that no human had ever seen before, and they marveled at the complexity and beauty of it all. As they prepared to leave the city and return to the surface, the researcher looked out into the darkness once again, feeling a sense of awe and wonder. He knew that there were still mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and he knew that he had a duty to approach them with the same respect and caution as before. And as he sailed back to the surface, the researcher felt a sense of pride and fulfillment that he had never felt before. He knew that he had been changed by his encounter with the monster, but he also knew that he had emerged from the experience a better, wiser person. As the researcher returned to the surface, he saw the sun rising in the distance, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange. He turned to his team and smiled, feeling a sense of camaraderie and respect that he had never felt before. "We've done it," he said. "We've discovered something incredible, and we've done it with respect and caution. We've shown that it's possible to explore the ocean without disrupting its delicate balance." The team nodded in agreement, and they began to pack up their equipment, preparing to return home. But as they were about to leave, the researcher noticed something strange, a small, glowing object that had fallen out of his pocket. He bent down to pick it up, and as he did, he realized what it was, a small crystal that he had found in the lost city. It glowed with a strange, otherworldly light, and he felt a sense of reverence and awe wash over him. He turned to his team and held up the crystal. "This," he said, "is why we do what we do. This is why we explore and study the ocean, because there are wonders out there that we can't even begin to imagine." The team looked at the crystal in awe, and they all knew that they had been a part of something truly special. As they sailed back to the mainland, they felt a sense of pride and fulfillment that they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. And as the researcher watched the crystal glowing in his hand, he knew that there would be more mysteries waiting for him in the future. But he also knew that he was ready for whatever lay ahead, because he had learned the most important lesson of all. Respect the ocean, and it will reward you with wonders beyond your wildest dreams.